you, and
Okay, we're recording.
can you come turn the camera and show him? Or you can move this way and you can move this way?
Just show him what he has to.
So he's on the camera,
Oh,
since we're gonna have him on the meeting.
gotcha.
Then
I need to sit on that side then.
I can't do that physically?
No,
I did, I put it back where it
Yeah,
was.
no.
Why can't I do that?
because it's supposed to be on a remote.
I have to be able to get to this.
See what I'm saying?
There you go. Let me
They know
just-
where, they know I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it does?
Okay, we good?
Yep, go.
Oh, right, call the meeting to order, I'm sure how we're doing the roll call, but,
Can everyone, go ahead and, one at a time, please, call out your names for roll call?
We don't need that, it's all
I've
on
got-
there.
well, we
We've
got-
already
Oh,
got
never
it.
mind, we got it, never
Okay.
mind, we're good.
And
Um,
Lori's here.
Lori's present.
all right, let's just skip the pledge of allegiance, we don't have
Let's-
a flag in here. Call to the public,
We have one.
okay,
Be Mr.
Kevin Green.
So
Oh,
you
Mr.
can turn
Green.
his microphone
let's turn on Mr. Green.
on.
I
He needs
can't,
to.
he has to.
Oh, Mr. Green?
Thank you very much for recognizing me. Can you hear okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I wanted specifically to address the medical issues and as far as which company you agree to go with. And I just think it's absolutely imperative that no matter which medical plan we subscribe to, that we do have access to the Mayo Clinic. The reasoning, two of the plans do, I believe, but one does not. Case in point, 2 years ago, following our recommended plan, my wife had received some unpleasant results from a blood test, and we went to our in-plan endocrinologist in Las Vegas, who, based on his prognosis and some cyto tests that came up suspicious, recommended immediate surgery, and he recommended, again, with an in-plan surgeon at a hospital in Vegas. Upon doing due diligence of that hospital, we luckily found out that the Mayo Clinic was on our plan, and we wanted to go there instead, at which point our in-house endocrinologist said he stopped, he said he didn't deal with the Mayo Clinic and we'd have to do the testing over again, which is a good thing that we did, because the Mayo Clinic found his ultrasound to be unusable. They had to redo the test and found out there was no mass, no cyst. Whatever biopsy he had taken was not located in the place where he said it was. And instead of having my wife's throat cut open, it was just thyroid supplements, which happens in 40% of the population. We need to have reference to the Mayo Clinic for voices other than the people who are in plan. That's the bottom line, and I will do everything in my power to convince you that we need to have that as an option. Thank you for recognizing me. I'll unmute now.
Thank you.
Greg, you might wanna check if there's anybody else who wants to speak, since they didn't know they could say that to us.
Yes, is there anyone else that wants to speak now? Anybody there that wants to speak?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, comparisons, and I just got these, so I'm not sure how we're gonna go ahead and compare these.
Well, one of the things that we asked to have compiled was a comparison, a side-by-side by the Northern Arizona Trust, Kairos, and Asbate on a spreadsheet for all of you to take a look at. It's a comparison of the plans as well as the premiums unfortunately, coming up on the screen, it's gonna be really small for you to
She
see.
says it's not on your screen.
Oh, you don't see it? Okay, never mind.
It'll come on your screen, but it won't be small.
Essentially, all we did was take everything that we received from each of the providers and try to put it into one easy viewing spreadsheet, so we could do a side-by-side comparison. Did anybody receive that?
Yeah, we were all emailed a copy. I printed it out, so I have it in front of me.
Okay.
Mr. Chairperson, on behalf of Michelle Bemelman and John King from Bullhead Elementary District, we have a question for Chuck Nelson. Chuck, are you there?
I sure am.
Awesome. We noticed that on the Classic Silver, that the Asbake Dental went up significantly from last year. And I'm looking at this comparison spreadsheet, not at your original documents. So do we have
Sure.
that represented correctly on the spreadsheet?
It looks correct, yes, absolutely.
Do you have any idea why that all three of those numbers, the employee only, the employee plus one dependent, and the employee family, why they went up over double?
On the dental,
Yes, on dental.
I believe the original numbers, the dental only went up 5% this year, so I'm not sure which numbers you were comparing them to, and I don't have that original document with me as well. I'm just looking at what you're showing me right here, 4750, based on, and again, we don't cover your dental right now as it stands, but I'd be shocked if it went over, if it was over double.
Chuck, last year, the dental for the employee was 37. Employee plus one was, I'm sorry, employee was 32, employee plus one was 37, and the employee plus the family was 64. So those numbers are nearly double.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. And I don't have that in front of me, but, I wasn't bidding the dental on this, so I'm just assuming those are numbers they just threw in there. I don't know if that helps you or not. I mean, each district has separate underwriting for the dental, but because we haven't carried your group over the years for the dental, they just post them as is, so.
Okay, so actually, those were not numbers that you gave us at all? John, I didn't
Those are just
realize you
numbers that
were
are on, those might be numbers that are on there right now, and they might have gone up that high, but again, you don't carry the Asbake Dental program.
Gotcha.
So-
Okay, so that's
this
not
is-
the one for Emeritus.
Those are definitely not the ones from America, no.
Thank you so much.
And guys, sorry, just one thing, this is Tara Zika from Kairos. In full transparency, the dental rates that you guys have listed on here for Kairos, the 11, the 23, 21, and 26, that's for the TDA, for the prepaid. And so that's that's a different type of dental than what I would consider our robust plan, which is under the Delta Dental. And I have those those rates are also listed in the ancillary benefits, which are one of the attachments under Kairos. But I just wanted to make sure that we weren't comparing just really low. I didn't want us to shine there when that's not the correct rates.
Thanks, Terry. So you're saying that really the one to compare would be your PPO dental?
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
I believe it is
$40?
$40
Mhm.
for the employee only.
Mm-hmm. 81,
Employee plus children is 67.
right.
81 for the employee plus the spouse, and then the family is 104.
Thank you.
Now, are those?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are those self-insured rates? So we still cover the liability, or are they covering the liability with those rates
No, that would be the liability would be on Kairos.
on Kairos? Okay. And Chuck, is that the same way with Asbate? Where they would
Yes, it is.
they would pick the liability instead of us paying the claims on the liability?
Yeah, the liability would be on Advate.
Okay. So that's a difference in price.
So, I think I heard Michelle's voice. So Michelle, that explains the difference in those prices from the past is because they're carrying the liability.
Understood, thank you.
So we don't actually, this is Lori, we don't actually use Advait Dental, so when you look at the total dollar amount for the column, if you went with Advait, that's not a true reflection of the cost if you don't figure what Emeritus costs us and what the vision plan costs us, since we don't use Advait for those.
That's true.
Right. So we don't know.
So we need to be able to compare apples to apples, you know, and that's, I mean, there's only, what, $40 difference between the two, and you're already talking about that the dental is off, so it's really only $30 between the two, and that's with Kairos not having the robust dental plan, so that's something
Well, no,
to keep in mind.
We do have one, it's just that it's not listed here.
It's not, it's
Right.
just not
It's
showing on
not
the
in our-
spreadsheet.
It's not on our spreadsheet for comparison, is what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
It's up to Greg, he's running
Yeah.
the meeting.
I guess we'll put it back on us. So the deductibles on these aren't listed. So the silver is the,
They're on this other page,
on,
on the other spreadsheet. So,
okay.
okay.
And currently, which, the Asbate one is the silver one? What are we doing on now?
Value silver? Value silver is what we do.
That's what we're doing now is the
Value silver.
Value silver,
Value silver.
okay. Well, I guess Tara, you'd be up for any other comments if we're going down the agenda.
Sure, Caroline, is there any way that you want me to do this, or you want me to just kind of go through things one more time?
Go through them. Yeah,
Just go through them.
Okay, so on the, sorry, I'm just gonna pull up something real quick. So on the comparisons, under the agenda item, it has what the RX cost. If you can pull that up, thank you so much, Kim, for adding this in. When you look at your current Asbate Value Silver Plan, which is what the district currently funds for the employees, and we talked about this last time, but it has the co-pays in there. That is most comparable if you want to include the co-pays, which from what we heard from the other or from the trustees and also the employees, that was very important to them. So I went ahead and I compared the $750 Kairos copay plan to the current $1,000 Asbate Value Silver plan. They're very comparable in price, in that the Kairos employee only would be $896 for the entire premium for the district cost, compared to $899, which would be the cost for the Asbate plan. The maximum out of pockets if you compare the two of them, would be lower on the Kairos copay plan. And the deductible obviously would be lower for the employee only and the employee plus spouse or employee plus one. If you have the family on there, it's $22.50 versus $2,000, so that would be a little bit higher than on the ASBATE plan. As a reminder, both of those all of our plans are under, or our entire program is under the Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO network. We have the out-of-state coverage in addition to the Mayo Clinic, so that would be in network for you guys. And also, the out-of-state would be covered by the Blue Card or the Blue Card Access, which is makes any Blue Cross Blue Shield provider considered in network when you go out of state. So I know that was an important point as well, since you guys utilized the Las Vegas facilities quite a bit. I'll stop real quick and ask if anyone has questions right now.
Yeah, I have a question on the employee plan. How much did you say it was, the family plan?
I'm sorry, for the deductible?
No, the premium.
Oh, on the bottom, you can see where those premiums are. So it goes from the employee plus one. We have an employee plus child tier. I don't know what it is for asking, but the employee plus child tier is $1,704, $691.
Okay, so I thought you'd said 2,200 something.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was for the copay, or for the deductible for the family.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
This is Lori, I have a question.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Thank
You just said that they had the availability to go to the Mayo Clinic. I thought at our last meeting you said they did not.
oh, she said
I'm
they
so
did.
sorry. Oh, no, Blue Card, or no, that was,
Northern
I'm sorry,
Arizona.
Lori, do we have access to the Blue Cross Blue or Mayo Clinic?
At the last meeting, that was Northern Arizona that did not. ASBATE and Kairos did.
Correct.
Okay.
So Lori, as a reminder, we have the PPO networks, it's not the EPO.
Oh, it's-
Correct, it's just
Right.
Blue Cross Blue Shield has a very limited plans the Mayo Clinic will accept. So I happen to own a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO plan that they don't accept. So I just wanted to make sure they accept your plan.
Yes, that's very accurate. They are not in network for a lot of groups because of the size of Kairos. We have been able to negotiate that they accept or that they allow us access.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
How many family plans do we even have?
Ask John or Michelle.
3. Right now, we're offering 3.
No, I mean, how many people are
Employees.
how many employees are on the family plan?
I can answer that for you.
Pardon?
Currently, you guys have 2 people that are on, or you have 12, 13, 14 total that take a family plan. You guys have 8, 9, 10 that take spouse and have the child an employee.
Yeah, it's for the
Yeah,
whole
it's for
tract.
both the trees.
The whole tract.
That's,
It's not many.
Someone's not doing it.
One of the other things I definitely wanted just to point out,
Okay.
on the comparisons for a little bit blurry on here, but for the copay, for the Kairos copay plan, the costs for prescriptions are significantly lower. But For the generic, it starts at 10, but the maximum amount that any of these prescriptions cost is $75 a month. So that's even for the specialty meds.
That's a maximum of $75 a month?
Yes.
Tara, where is that on your,
It's right here.
okay, I got it.
And then the mail order is a 90-day supply.
Anybody else have questions?
If there are any other questions for Tara.
Anyone else have any questions for Tara?
Tara, you had mentioned that the PPO dental was more robust than the prepaid. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a Delta Dental.
It was a Delta dental, okay. I have the rates here. I just wanted to double check because they were higher than what we had put in.
This is Kate. I have a question.
Okay,
I thought that originally when we were talking that with Kairos, we could still keep our Vision Care Direct and our Emeritus Dental that we currently have if we wanted to. We didn't have to take Kairos's dental and vision.
Yes, ma'am, that's
true.
correct. So, if you guys decide to stick with your ancillary products, we're we're fine with that. So you're more than welcome to do that. I can also just send some more, I got detailed summaries for each of them. I didn't want to get it too far into the weeds on you guys, but I can send some detailed summaries so you can also do a plan summary comparison if you would like to, and then that way you're not just looking at price, you can actually see what the coverages are as well.
Because you guys have Delta Dental and VSP, correct?
VSP for vision, yes, ma'am.
Delta and VSP. Okay.
And I
Thank
think,
you.
and I think,
Yeah.
Kate, that the board had discussed last meeting, of course, they can decide whatever they want, but they wanted to keep open that option of keeping the current plans with, with Delta and Emeritus. So, the board can operate, can figure that out as a separate piece if they want to.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, because they had said when we heard from our Vision Care Direct and the Emeritus Dental that our rates with those were steady and everything was really good for us within those two areas. So personally, if we can keep Vision Care Direct, I would love to, just because they allow us to do that contact and glasses option that we
That's
can't
right,
find with
yeah.
any other vision provider that we've had.
Anybody else out there have questions for Tara? Comments?
Do you mind if I just summarize real quick, like, quick recap on this?
Go ahead.
Okay, so, depending on which plan the district funds, and obviously that's gonna be a district decision, and we can definitely help with that. But if you guys are sticking to the, to the $750 or the $1,000 plan, the $750 option is a lower maximum out of pocket for employees. The deductible is also lower. Some of the onesies and twosies, so there are some copays in there, and there are, we do have some slightly different, or they have like they have a couple extra or options as far as the copays go, but the copays that we do have are lower, and the prescription costs are significantly lower for employees, which I know can become a big expense for your employees. We have the larger Blue Cross Blue Shield network with the out-of-state coverage. The employee costs, if you look at the other two or the other plans, would be significantly lower, along with the district cost. And we do have the, oh, and I already talked about the and you don't have to, we're very lenient as far as the rates go, or I'm sorry, for the ancillary products, whether or not you want to offer those. So that, that doesn't have to be contingent on decisions for the medical at this point.
Okay, thank you. All right. This will hear from Chuck.
Hi there, everybody. I appreciate everybody's time. Can you keep that slide up, please? That slide you just had. Can you keep that slide up on the screen for me?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like I said, under these strange times, I appreciate everybody's patience and appreciate the opportunity, obviously, for us to all still be able to get together, although we're applying our social distancing prerequisite, which is, thank you for doing that with me. So I appreciate that. What I wanted to look at on this spreadsheet, and it might be a little bit hard to see. I don't know if we can increase it a little bit or not, but again, we've got 3 plans that we currently offer right now. The Value Silver plan is the plan that the school funds to, but we also have the Classic Silver plan as well, where, and I know that Kairos has their core plan, which shows a $500 deductible, shows a core plan that they're comparing to our Classic Silver plan. But if you notice, one, you've got 3 deductibles there. You've got a 500, you've got a 1,000, and you've got a 1,500. So any of the folks that have family coverage, if they're under that silver plan, they're going to pay. That's a silver hat. Again, our maximum on there is $1,000, not $1,500. On the Kairos copay plan, again, it goes up to $2,250 compared to our, and again, if you're comparing it to our Value Silver plan compared to the 2,000. So unfortunately, it is penalizing the folks that have family coverage, not only in the deductible, but it also penalizes them in the actual cost. If you look at the cost at the very bottom, on the Kairos copay plan, it's $26.91 compared to the as-date Value Silver at $23.39. So again, a significant cost, whereas your employee cost, $8.99 compared to $8.96, not a giant cost shift on that end. There are some other differences as well. If you look at that Kairos core plan, it's all deductible and co-insurance. There's no doctor visits, there's no specialist visits, whereas ours is a $30 copay and a $40 for specialists. They've got deductible and co-insurance. So that core plan really doesn't compare to the buy-up Classic Silver plan that you've got quite a few folks in there. You've got 57 employees that buy up to that Classic Silver plan. And what they're matching against it really doesn't compare. The Value Silver, I would say, yeah, if you look at the $1,000 Value Silver plan compared to the Kairos copay plan, I think it matches up. They've got some that benefit them and that are better than what. At the same time, we have some on our list as well that benefit the member just as much, and so it kind of is a give and take on that end. But you also have the Value Gold plan, which is the $750 deductible, which they're not really comparing because right now you don't have a high deductible health plan. So they really have one copay plan that you can offer that actually has copays. The rest of the plans are all co-insurance and deductible. So I don't know if you want that much disruption in regards to changing plans. I think, again, ultimately, when we look at the rates, when we look at the plan design, ASB is still offering a much richer plan, aside from a few of the items that I agree with Tara, with where she pointed out maybe the RX is a better RX on that end. But again, having the out-of-state, coverage, having Mayo Clinic, having the rich programs that we can implement, and if you want a high deductible health plan, we absolutely can bring one in and bring it in to be able to offer. At the same time, I know we've tried that in the past with not much success, and that might just be an educational issue, and that, again, gives me that opportunity to come in and do that education for your members. So I guess in closing, I mean, I would, again, my recommendation is always gonna be to stay with ASBATE. ASBATE is the richest plan that's being offered right now. And I just, you know, I guess I open it up to questions right now.
Well, you said that they didn't have co-pays, but I think I'm looking at, they do have co-pays for the doctor visits.
On the core plan, on Kairos Core, which is to your left.
Right, but how much does the employee spend to buy into that other plan? That's
Copay plan.
something to consider, because one of the complaints, and part of the reason we're looking at other things, is that while this is a richer plan, that's true if you're in Maricopa or Pinal County, but when you're out here in Mojave County, the Aetna providers are slim. And it's been a rough go for a lot of our members to, you know, even have radiology coverage. And so, that's the hard part, you know, that's what makes us look hard at Blue Cross Blue Shield, because everyone takes that, and that's not true of Aetna. And to be quite honest, I don't really think you guys have done your job to get us enough Aetna providers.
No, I got a little bit of what you were saying, I'm sorry, it's just a little bit hard to hear, but at the same time, I get it. You know, the Blue Cross Blue Shield is a stronger network out there, I will give them that for sure, absolutely. But we are working on that, we are trying to get out there and get some more coverage, in regards to, having Aetna be, a stronger network in the rural areas. But you are correct, and I'll concede that for sure.
You conceded that for,
I thought we were looking at the Kairos 750 copay plan. Isn't that
we
the one
were,
that Tara was
he's,
looking at?
right, but
So
he's
what's
been
the
comparing
buy-up?
it to
Yeah.
What's
the buy-up.
from classic silver
Okay.
to
He's looking
the
at the buy-up.
Oh, the buy.
the richer one,
So-
because
So
we should
if
figure
you
that
look at
cost
the other ones, like the core plan, it would be something, like, if you compare, if you look at the Aztec Classic Silver and the core Kairos core plan, you would be buying up from what the district, so if the district decides to fund $899 or $896, in order to buy up to the core plan, they would have to pay the difference between $934 and $896 versus $1,000 and $899.
I got you.
Yeah, 1,944.
But with specific plan design differences that really align with the copays. Again, there's really no copay on there until you get down to the prescription, but for physicians, for chiropractic, for specialists, it's all deductible coinsurance. So you have to meet your deductible before your coinsurance kicks in. So for me, a doctor's office visit under this plan starts me off at $500. So if the doctor visit costs me $120, it's gonna cost me $120, and that's gonna be deducted from my deductible. That's why there's some huge differences in the plan compared to the classic silver plan.
If you're buying up.
So if you buy up to, on Kairos, if you buy up to value gold, you have no copay, coverage?
On the value gold plans, you do.
I'm sorry, Lori, will you say that again?
On the, if the district provided value silver and the employee wanted to buy up to value gold, would they still have the copay option with that plan?
Yes, or, sorry, that's not for me to answer. Go ahead, Chuck.
No, that's for you to answer. I'm talking on Kairos, because it looks to me like
Oh, on
if they sign
Kairos?
up to Value Gold, they don't have a copay option.
Correct. They just have that lower deductible.
Okay.
They have the copays for the prescriptions right off the bat, but for the actual coverages, it's the deductible and then 80%. Now, a couple things just to consider on that is, you know, the amount that they're saving based on the difference in the prices. That's something to consider, just based on the 1,000 versus the 934. So that's going to be something to consider. But then, you know, because the network is so much stronger with Blue Cross Blue Shield, the discount is also stronger. So when you say 80% coinsurance versus, you know, some of the 75% or the 80% on the ASBATE plans, that's also going to come into play.
Yeah, but in as-made plans, deductibles are cumulative, not upfront.
You gotta speak up loudly.
Isn't, as-made plans cumulative deductibles and not upfront before their co-pays kick in?
No, your copays kick in immediately.
Okay,
Your deductible is only gonna be hit if you're hospitalized, if you have outpatient surgery, if you have an MRI, something like that. That's when your deductibles are gonna kick in. But under our plans, you have a copay, and that from day one you have a copay.
right. And your deductibles.
You don't have to
add
meet
up
that
as you go.
deductible.
Right.
So again, if you've got that core plan, that $500 deductible for an individual, you know, again, I'm going in and paying a doctor visit of $120, or if it's a specialist, it's gonna be, you know, $175, whatever it might be. You know, I've gotta pay that before my co-insurance kicks in of 20%.
Right.
Request to be recommended.
I'm sorry, you can also just,
The physician allowable.
right, but you can also just compare the Kairos copay plan to the ASBATE Classic Silver plan, and yeah, there's a higher deductible on that. And then but look at the difference in the savings between the two. That's $100 a month. You can apply that to any, you know, copay. As far, you know, if you want to go to the doctor 3 times a month, then you could go to the doctor 3 times a month and still come out ahead on that.
Request to be recognized?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. Perhaps some hard data would help. I don't think it wouldn't abridge anyone's confidentiality if we had some information about how many employees took advantage, or how many incidents of copay occurred in the last calendar year. If we could come up with that number, then we could also estimate an average cost per visit and find out which one is in the best financial interest of the employees.
No. That would be built into the plan.
Yeah.
Because our plan as a
Speak up.
our insurance plan, you go and you pay a copay instead at a doctor, instead of paying a deductible, and that's how it's built in. So everybody who goes to the appointment pays a copay. So it'd be.
Correct.
You know,
But how many incidents of copay, do we have that number available?
No.
We don't.
No.
It wouldn't be a number that, they would have available.
Greg, can I make a suggestion based on something that was just said a
Okay.
minute ago? For the trust board to look at and for everybody else to look at? Compare ASBATE's Classic Silver to Kairos's copay. Because a lot of the elements in those two things are a little more similar than looking at, say, Kairos Core and Classic Silver together and Value Gold and copay together. So maybe if you look at Kairos copay compared to Classic Silver, did we not pay for Classic Silver this year? No, we didn't?
We were at Value Silver.
Oh, we were at Value Silver, which isn't
Right.
even on here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's way over on the right.
It's on, yeah, that's what we're at now.
It was one of the plans that was dropped I think we had, John, 3 tiers at one point, and then a year or two ago,
Right.
they dropped it to 2. They
Right.
dropped one of the tiers.
So then maybe y'all could look at, because if we paid this year for value silver, maybe it's looking at ASBate value silver to Kairos copay.
That's what
I don't know, I'm offering you some things that are not lined up next to each other,
that's what I
but
was
that
kinda
maybe
looking
have
at, those
similar
two.
kinds of things offered for you to compare.
Except that the deductible is lower.
Oops, sorry.
It's okay.
The
Well,
deductible
if
is lower
you're gonna
with,
continue to do the network that's available for the people to use, I mean,
We're gonna need to get her
Well,
to the
yeah, it's Blue Cross.
Well, she's on the agenda.
yeah, and, you know, I mean, there's not,
spend the majority of
Etna's
time
not
compared to
great
these
in the
two.
rural area, so, you know, you're talking, people are gonna have to travel other places for specialists, and, which you do anyway here, but at least Blue Cross Blue Shield, you know, you can go to Las Vegas, and I don't know, I just.
You can also see the difference in the out-of-network deductibles as well
That's-
between the two.
that's big.
Yeah, so, I don't know, you know, this is a hard thing, and making these kinds of decisions for other people is always very difficult, but you know, I'm appreciative that we have a product that we could provide that would give the broad coverage of Blue Cross Blue Shield, that would give the availability of the Mayo Clinic, that would have some better coverages. Nothing's ever going to be exactly the same, but in my opinion, just me, I'm leaning to Kairos, so, and staying with our other vision and dental.
Lori, are you talking about the Kairos copay
Yeah,
plan?
the copay plan. I think a copay plan is imperative for our employees.
Thank you for clarifying, Lori.
Thank you.
All right,
Can we hear from
Still-
Stephanie?
yeah, I wanna hear,
Yes,
okay,
it's time to hear from
Stephanie?
Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, how are you?
Hello,
Hanging in.
Can everybody hear me?
yes,
Okay, great. So I think we can all agree that, the NABT rates are not, competitive with, the rates that were provided by ASBate and Kairos. And I did want to just go over, just a couple things. If you could open that presentation that I sent and go to slide, number 6, or, yeah, 6. I don't know how it went from 3 to 6, but it's in.
No, you went past it.
Right there, back one there.
There you go.
Right there. So we, Chuck was able to send the data from the actual claims data from Colorado River Schools, and we supplied that to the actuary for NABT. And the actuary determined that the overall medical benefits provided by NABT are 4.1% richer, and that the claims experience, so the medical benefits being richer was really not that big of an issue, but the claims experience is significant. So the claims experience was 238.8% higher than NABT's claims experience. So that's what's driving those much higher rates for NABT. Part of that is also that the actuary determined that not only is Colorado River Schools not a financial fit for NABT, but he wouldn't even recommend bringing the schools on a separate rate structure, which is kind of what we had talked about earlier. But as we were going through all of the other items, we did some looking at some of your other documents. And so we figure we're pretty much out of the running as far as the health coverage end of it, but we did want to make an offer to the trust to allow us to do similar to what we did with Lake Havasu schools, and perform an end-to-end review of the trust operations. And I'm going to hand it over to Aaron. He's also on the call, and he is the absolute expert in this area. So he can tell you what he found when we reviewed your trust document, and what we're proposing to assist you through this time that you're going through right now and into the next year to help you get things back on track.
So this is what he highlighted.
Aaron?
Thanks, Stephanie. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
This is what he's gonna go through.
So, and my camera, I apologize, my camera is not working, so you guys, which is actually pretty fortunate, because I can be a little scary looking in real life with my eyes. When we looked at the Stephanie sent over, we looked at the underwriting information. I would start off there. When we looked at the underwriting information, we understand why the rates are bad, but the rates, all of the rates that we're seeing for the two schools are literally the worst we've encountered. Ours, obviously, the NAETs make no sense. The actuary said we can see that coming in too. But I would say to you that what we're wondering is what else is driving it. We've looked at the data. We know there's a large case in there. We know there's some other things in there. But the participation is just so high that even when you consider the rate, the differentials between Blue Cross and the Aetna networks, there's no way they should be that high. Something clearly is going on. So our proposal is that essentially to come on as the broker to work with the two districts to figure that out. We did this about 2.5 years ago with Lake Havasu School that was facing a similar situation. And over the course of the years, got their trust back under financial control on multiple levels. They had several things going that your trust is not, one of which was they were operating a clinic that was costing them about $100,000 a month and not returning anything on it. But beyond that, and this is where we're seeing the same smoke with this trust that we found with Lake Havasu, their operations had literally zero financial controls and money was bleeding out the side. When Stephanie sent me over the trust document that the Colorado River schools are operating under, they're using essentially boilerplate language that's been around the state for 30 years. What's gone from that trust document is all of the reference to the standard public oversight, the open meeting laws, pooling statute for schools that would have put the operations of the trust under the audit authority of the state Department of Insurance. And we saw something similar with Lake Havasu schools where that oversight was simply gone and ignored. And that's how the financial controls came off, and that's how that trust got into the trouble that it ultimately got into. In the case of the two Colorado schools, by pulling that, I suspect that much of the same issues that we found with Lake Havasu schools will apply to you as well. And just to cut to the chase, that included that they'd operated for 30 years, spent millions of dollars of public funds, and never held a single legal meeting. And the result of that was every one of their contracts was void, and technically every one of those dollars was spent illegally. So we worked with their attorney to go back and get that all covered, to get that fixed legally in accordance with the statute, re-award their contract, and to get their trust back onto a solid financial footing. At the end of the day, they went into NAEBT. I don't know that we can get that outcome for you, but looking at these rates, I can tell you there's more wrong here than one single large case. And my guess would be it's a lack of financial and administrative controls. And that's our specific expertise when it comes to public sector. So our offer is basically, we will work with you. Should you stay with ASBATE, which I would tell you I would recommend in any event, looking at the district. Should we come on board, we'll work with your trustees, your fiduciaries to walk through exactly what's driving the cost and to clean it up to see if you can actually get it back under financial control and get back to providing benefits that families can afford. And I apologize, I don't know Tara, but when you were talking about the numbers of 12 to 15 families, for a school district, only have 14 folks that can afford the coverage for family, is pretty startling. And that I can see why with those figures, what a family costs. So the concept is pretty straightforward. The healthcare is no good if nobody can afford it. And I suspect that you can go back and actually fix this thing and get it back under control. So I'd be happy to answer any questions I can.
What is the cost of something like this?
I'm sorry, what the costs?
Yes.
We would just take it over on the broker basis. Whatever Dave had in there in the past, we would accept. And then in the second year, what we'll do is we'll put it on the same fee schedule that NAEBT is on, guaranteed that it will not be higher than what we're making. So it's essentially pretty much a no lose from the two schools' perspective. We will take our fee and anything else will be reduced cost.
Okay, Erin?
And also, Madam Chair, what we would do if we were to start immediately working with the district, we would work for the sum of $1 between whenever we were hired through June 30, 2020 to do that end-to-end review. And then in the 2020-21 plan year, that's when we would accept what the prior broker was being paid.
The prior broker was $5 per employee per month. Carolyn and Todd, just as a reminder, with Prescott Unified School District and Humboldt Unified School District, they had a similar thing with when they had their trust when they came into Kairos. Ashton Tiffany, who runs the Arizona School Risk Retention Trust and Kairos, came in and did all the end-to-end operations for shutting down that trust. They did that for $1 for the entire operation, so that it wasn't taking away from funds that the employee or that the district can put towards employee costs. We worked with your prepaid attorneys that you guys already have through the Arizona School Risk Retention Trust, so there's no additional costs for that, and you guys already have that. You already have that resource that you guys can utilize. So that's just an option as well.
Thank you, Tara. Erin, this is Carolyn Stewart, just for a point of information for you. The $5 per employee per meeting, or per month, that Tara just quoted is directly from Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart was the broker. That's straight out of his mouth from a meeting that happened a couple of months ago. Otherwise, we have no idea what his fees were. We cannot find any documents regarding that, so that's just for your information.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, what we found on Lake Havasu schools was that in addition to the quoted fee, that there was money being added on elsewhere that was not, for lack of a better term, not fully disclosed. The formula was that the compensation was being paid on was pretty murky. So what we did during the end-to-end review is we mapped all those. The first time that all of those things came forward, there was, if I remember correctly, it was something like $4 or $4.50 PEPM being added elsewhere, and then there was a per prescription fee going, and there had previously been add-ons onto the network lease. So I would not be surprised to find more than that $5 PEPM based on that experience.
Because then that's going to cost us nothing relative to what Erin just proposed.
Chuck, would you be able to speak to that since he goes through the ASBATE or Meriting?
That's what we pay him on the medical. It's the $5 PEPM. I'm not sure what he gets on anything else.
Hand me Lori's phone. Keep it on mute. Lori?
Yes,
This is Carolyn, and the other is on mute, so only you can hear me.
okay.
I was just pointing out to Greg that the Kairos copay that you recommended,
Yes,
and the deal that, the part that Tara just said about reviewing our trust,
yes.
that's a pretty good deal.
All up here
I
is
think so
tough.
too.
I can't tell.
Can you
That's
unmute?
why-
Unmute now.
That's why I'm leaving.
Hold on, Lori, hold on.
We're going back on mic.
Okay.
Erin, this is Todd Flora. We are certainly concerned about those hidden add-on, as you said, $5 plus another $4.95. That could be where, did you detect any fiscal malfeasance in your review, or you can't reveal that?
What we did is public. We did not find anything that indicated anything criminal. what we found was an absolutely terrible lack of financial controls, and we were very fortunate that the district staff was incredibly cooperative in mapping it out. They still have out of the trust, I believe it's either $115,000 or $145,000 amount that has not been able to be reconciled, but it turned out in their particular case that the checkbooks had not been reconciled for as far back as anybody knew. There was literally no process to reconcile either the checkbook or the claims, or also even to reconcile with the collections and the payroll matched the elections within the plan. So that 145 is probably just long-standing administrative and lack of financial controls.
Can you explain how this impacts the rates that you're quoting?
Anything that's in there that frankly that doesn't need to be there is not disclosed impacts the schools. For us, it has zero impact because I'm willing to bet that our actual fee, our 100% transparent fee, is less than what you're paying now. And if not, I'll go at risk with my firm and I'll take the $5 PEPM and we'll still do the same work between now and July 1 for the dollar, and then the following year to actually work with you and ASB to find out what's actually driving your costs.
Okay.
What I would say to you guys, if you're looking down on that river with the city and the fact that your rates are, that to come into the group and to go into NABT would have to charge 238% just to get back to even, that's insane. So
Just a reminder that the medical is fixed cost through ASB, so they're not self-insured, Aaron.
That number's crazy. However you get there, that number's crazy. So what is it that the cities are doing so differently that their rates are that much lower?
It goes back to claims.
I think it does.
Yeah.
It goes back to.
All right, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
And you can make a motion if you want to, Greg, or you can, whatever.
are we gonna do the rest of these, or we're gonna just vote on these now?
Veritas and Vision Direct.
Are they here?
Yeah, they're here.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna wanna hear from Rick Hanna.
Yeah. Okay,
Rich
Rick,
Hanna.
Rich?
Rich, you're here?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, appreciate it. I know you've talked about a lot of important things in our newfound world. Appreciate the social distancing. Appreciate to see all your smiling faces. Let's see, I'll share a screen with you real quick.
Where is he?
Sent this to Kim earlier, but not sure it made it to you all. So I'll go through this real brief.
Do you want me to
One
put
of
it
the things I
up
want
there,
to
Rich?
mention too.
Rich, do you want me to put it
Yeah,
up?
if you could, or that'd be great. And otherwise I can try and share my screen too. That makes it easier.
Is this the one?
Yep, perfect. If we can just go to page 2 of that. Perfect. And I'll give you a quick overview and highlight. One of the things I just want to mention, I mentioned it at our last meeting, I got to see all of you, is on the dental, specifically with Emeritus. We started with the trust and the schools back in 2015. And again, you're completely self-insured. So what that means from our end, from Emeritus to working with the trust, as Aaron mentioned, as working with Dave, there's nothing else built into your ASO fees except for your specific costs. So there's no other commission, there's no other.
Losing you.
That the trust pays.
You cut out there. You have to say that last little bit again.
Okay. Sorry again, and I'll illustrate it. It's illustrated in another report I sent to Kim today in our report that you're used to seeing. So the $11,000 you spent over the past eight months with Emeritus in your self-insured fees, so that's your fixed cost. There's no other monies that go anywhere else outside of Emeritus and working with the trust. Nothing else went to Dave. Nothing else would go to Aaron or any other consultant. So just want to say that up front, like again, that $395 and everything transactionally we work with the trust is all transparent. So if you ever have any questions, again, really appreciate this setup and scenario. I work with a lot of different districts across the state, completely transparent. So any pennies, any dimes, any numbers you want to see is all in the reports of every dollars that they go back and forth. So basically the self-insured arrangement with you, we pay your claims, and then you pay us back. So just want to highlight the way that works. So if you're looking at any other opportunities, I would encourage you to do so. I can work with your consultant, I can work with the trust to walk you through some of those and some things to look for. If you were to go fully insured, which I would not recommend, the reason I wouldn't recommend it is because you look into paying taxes on your premium, and also specifically your costs are going to go up. So even if you could potentially save money for a year, this is as transparent as you could be. Your costs more than likely would go up. And I say that because right now 96.6% of all your claims are in network. With Emeritus, that means they're in a contained cost arrangement. You save money on them. Any other vendor would have to come in and have to beat that number and have to have a larger discount. So as I go through some of these numbers, just highlight that for the trust and anyone else that you would like me to work with or compare for. So just some quick highlights. As you see on your screen, 39.7% of all your claims are going to your preventive and diagnostic services. That's good. That's what we want to see. That's kind of our oral care leading towards the future of how do we control your spend. Your spend was up over the past 8 months, nearly $99,000 compared to $81,000 the same time this last year. That's a 21.5% increase. That sounds like a lot when we statistically look at it on an annual basis. It doesn't seem to be the same. Overall, your trend has ranged from $138,000 to $144,000 over the past 5 years. So very, very steady. Really, the reason for the increase this year was you saw more billed procedures. So you saw 1,577 billed procedures compared to 1,359 the year before. Average cost per procedure just under $63 compared to $60 the same time period before. And again, so not only did you see more procedures or more claims, but the cost of those procedures was higher of those claims that we received. So again, if we break it down per procedure, per claim, per rate, prescriber, 4.36 compared to 3.86 the year before. Again, if we break this into an annual amount, $417 per employee compared to $346 the year prior. Again, as I mentioned, 96.6% of all your claims paid in network. To give you a benchmark across the state, right now we're seeing roughly 85% of all our claims coming through the network. So again, well above that number. And what does that network or our systems mean to you? Roughly you see 43.7% off the top. So for every claim that you see that comes to the trust, if you were to pay it yourselves versus working with Emeritus and utilizing the network and our dental claims system savings, you save roughly 43.7%. So really for the trust, what are you seeing in return? I apologize, that looks like that last number didn't make it in. That's $9.41 compared to every dollar spent with Emeritus. So, Madam Chair, trustees, I know that was really quick, but we've gone through a lot of numbers today, specific to your medical, where some of your larger spends are. Any quick questions on the dental? Any understanding questions? Things I can highlight for you all?
I have one question. The average cost per
Please.
procedure went from up to $62.71. Is that as a result of, say, employee cost to the dentist, and then that's handed down to us? Or was it an actual change in the type of procedures that we engaged in?
From looking at it from the data I can tell, it was really the difference in the procedures performed. So really put that in a more generic term, you had more basic and major procedures, more costly procedures compared to routine procedures prior. As an example, I believe, and I don't have the data in front of me, I believe your number was roughly 45% of your total paid claims was in preventive for your calendar year last year. So looking at this specific time period, you had more procedures in a basic and major category. So really it's not necessarily that the cost, the Emeritus contracts are going up. It was really the procedures you had performed. They were a higher cost basis procedures performed. That makes sense.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get paid more for that.
Okay, anyone else have any questions for Rich?
Yes, this is Sherry Nestrick. What is your cost per employee for next year? $47.50?
Sure, that's a great question. We don't track, so basically, the way this works is really from Emeritus, the only cost we project your way is the fixed cost of $3.95 per employee per month. So we haven't done our analysis. I can work with my actuary to look at a composite spend today, and I can work with Kim and your team to see what you're charging your employees today as a total aggregate premium you take in. Because again, this is really the only thing you pay Emeritus is the fixed cost. So we can estimate the cost for next year based on claims, and I can sure get that number to the trust after I understand what you're charging your employees today to recommend estimated premiums for next year. Does that answer your question, Sherry?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry, the ASBate.
The $47.50 that you see on there, that's for ASBate dental, which we don't have.
Right.
We actually pay closer to, I think, $33 for dental right now.
About 32.
So, yeah, it's not that high. So even if it went up 5%, it still wouldn't be anywhere near that $47 mark.
Thank you.
Well, the numbers we had at the last meeting were that dental and vision together were $54.10, yes?
That sounds about right, Sherry.
Probably right.
So we're looking at another $54.10 over whatever plan we pick. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be.
Yes, it would.
So
Okay.
now the big question is what is available in the budget and what can we afford? Because
Lori, this is Carolyn. Unfortunately, since we don't have any clue for either district what our budgets are gonna look like, how we deal with the budget is going to fold around what we pay for insurance.
Okay. I just can't pass the costs on to the employee if possible. So if we went with Kairos and we went with the Value Silver plan and it's $896, and then it was $54 a month. Basically we're saying $950 an employee a month.
Which is approximate, well, that's a little higher than we're paying right now, but it's better than it could be.
Yeah.
It's close.
It's close.
And it's not gonna drive the budget. The budget won't be driven by that.
No.
Great. Usually they want we've often been asked to pass the cost along, and I'm not absolutely against that, so.
I think you as a board have made that very clear to us from the beginning, that as much as possible, you want us to have a base plan, a base thing that we pay for everybody, for employees, and then have a buy-up plan for them. So you guys have made that pretty clear. You can make that formal in whatever decision you make today.
Okay, we still haven't heard from Reed. Is there anything else for Rich on the dental side? I don't think so. Anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
My turn?
Your turn,
Yes.
Reed.
Oh, good. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
This is really kind of fun to be able to do it this way, to be able to see everybody and say hi to everyone. I want to echo what Rich, well, unfortunately, at our office, because of HIPAA, we are, because the restrictions put on what we can do, we don't have cameras at our office computers because of HIPAA compliance. So I apologize, but I'll echo what Aaron said. You've seen my ugly face enough, you don't need to see it again. And I'm going to echo what Rick said about the relationship that we have had with the folks at your school district, the only money you are paid, because we're in a self-insurance arrangement, is the money you pay for administrative costs and for the actual cost of services provided. There has been no other money going to any other source, certainly not to Dave Stewart. So the money that you spent is in direct services for either eye care, eyewear, or to the administrative costs for processing claims. In January, we presented some reports on where we are for the year. As you probably have always noted, that vision is the lowest spend that you have. And we have been quite stable. Now, we haven't, if there's some additional information you would like us to, I'll get with our actuarial team and I can produce additional numbers if you need them. What we do know is that your rates have been stable since we began. We've been asked to provide ghost rates and then compare against those ghost rates every year, meaning you're setting the money aside to make sure that you have enough money to pay the vision claims that are coming through. The ghost rates we have been supplying have always been higher than the actual spend money. So you're saving money even over the ghost rates that were supplied. If we were to go to a commercial product or a fully insured product, like Rich, the cost would probably go up. We'd have to do that analysis to see where we are today and can do that analysis if you would like us to. Other than that, over the years, we've been able to provide, on services provided, a 59.7% discount on the services that we provide for you. Do we have any questions for me?
I don't think so. Anybody? Well, that was pretty easy, Reed.
Thanks, Reed.
We try to keep it that way, thank you.
Plus you saved that gas money.
Well, it's always fun to come see you, though. We'll get past this coronavirus thing, and we'll have a chance to come out again.
Okay, I think we're ready for a motion, and I propose a motion. I move that we approve the Craehbt copay medical and continue with Emeritus Dental and Vision Care Direct as in the past.
I second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Do a roll call.
Aye.
Okay, roll call, yeah. Aye for me, of course.
Aye for Lori.
We need to hear from Sherry
Sherry?
and
Brandy.
Brandy.
Sherry?
Go on to someone else.
Brandy?
Brandy?
Aye.
Okay. Back to Sherry?
Reluctant, aye.
Motion carries. I have another motion that I'd like to present. Move that Craehbt perform the end-to-end assessment of our trust as Tara had offered to us. Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Lori second.
I second.
Oh. All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
That was Lori, aye. Sherry?
Aye.
Brandy?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, everybody, for all of your serious consideration and all of you whose faces we can see for tuning in and asking questions.
Future meetings?
And you all stay home. horrible, I have to tell you.
All right, Lori, feel well. We
Yes.
still have to motion out.
We, well, do we want to discuss a future meeting date?
Well, that'd be a good idea.
Oh, that's true, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there, Greg. Future meeting date?
Usually you only meet every 2 months, but you may want updates on this sooner than that. Might I suggest the first week in May? It's up to you all, but that's a suggestion.
First week of May?
Lori says okay for the first week in May.
That's fine.
I'm supposed to be, it'll probably be canceled, but I'm supposed to be on vacation up until the 5th.
Okay.
We have our meeting on the 11th, and you have your meeting on the 21st, is it?
Yes.
In all likelihood, I'll probably be around though, because
Pardon
it's Florida, so I think it's gonna get.
Lori says we should meet before that. You want to meet in April?
So that everything is solid to give to the board.
Your vacation, Greg, would be what, the week before the 4th?
Yeah, I'd be gone that week, but,
So what
I mean, I could call
about,
in maybe. and-
what about, April 21st, that's a month from now?
April 21st, Lori?
Yes, that works.
That works for me.
That works for Lori, that works for Greg.
Sherry, how's
Sharon?
that work for you?
Looking at a calendar.
Randy?
I think so. I didn't bring my calendar with me, but I think that's fine.
Did you guys say May 5th? Is that what was said? I'm so sorry.
April 21st, Tara.
Oh, April 21st. Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that one as well. And then also I'll just be in touch, with the HR, and with the administration on setting up the open enrollments and the best way to go about that during, this time. We'll set up webinars and everything for the employees, since they're most likely gonna be out for quite a while.
Yeah, Kara, here with Michelle. That was going to be my question: is how fast you can turn around open enrollment sheets.
Oh yeah, we'll get them, we'll touch base with you guys tomorrow, and we'll set up a kickoff call, for this week. Just so that we can, chat about the next steps and start getting everything put together. But we're quick, don't worry about that piece.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So move for adjournment.
I have a quick
Oh,
question.
wait, yes.
Just a quick question. Are we only offering one packet in for employees?
for the bump up.
No,
You guys can offer one person or you can offer all 5, it doesn't matter. If it sounds like the district, it's a fund, that's okay.
right, so we would offer the bump up to,
At least one.
at least one.
Do we know which one?
We would probably
have
if you guys do offer the bump up one, I would also just recommend, and this is that to the district, but I would also recommend offering one of the ones that are the higher deductible plans in case there are families that can't afford to buy up to the 750 plan. It at least just gives them the option if they can't afford it.
The other thing that does is it starts teaching them about it.
Correct, and we can start an education campaign as well.
We need a motion on that, right now? I don't think so.
No.
Okay,
What about Sherry?
Sherry,
Yes.
Date?
Ask her.
are you good for April 21st?
Yes.
Okay,
4:00?
4 o'clock?
Yes, and I would dearly hope that we could all do this in person.
Yes,
We hope.
we hope.
But
Okay.
Kim, thank you for cleaning all this up and everything.
You're welcome.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Participate.
Lori seconds the motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
All right, Lori, thank you. Feel
Have a
better.
good evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Can you believe that?
You can't even buy them.
Well,
Not even
but
available.
you know, you know, the doctors say that, wearing a mask doesn't really help you,
No.
you know, in your day-to-day walking around. Yeah, if you're a healthcare provider and you're in close proximity, but I have it.
The mask is to keep
The contained person.
Right.
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 The contained